All right, guys, welcome to 1 Million Cups, and I'm proud to announce this week we're donating to 1 Million Cups infrastructure. This is a star. The presenter stands on the star, and they're good for the camera. And when you come up to ask questions, you can stand right there, right? Easy. Okay, so the first thing to do, it's time to check in. Now that we don't have the grid on the screen, you can check in by pointing your phone at that. Or you can use that piece of paper if somebody will pass it around. Take a screenshot, let 1 Million Cups know that you are here, and that helps document our activities. All right, welcome to 1 Million Cups. This is our mission, which is a national mission, actually. It's to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for new and inspiring entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurship is a difficult journey. It doesn't have to be as lonely as it often seems. There are plenty of people around you who have the skills in areas where you have unknown unknowns. So we help to facilitate that interaction and help you in your entrepreneurial journey. So how do we do that? There's a consistent program that comes out of the Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City. All the organizers are trained. They coach us in how to coach presenters. And that ensures that 1 Million Cups is pretty much a uniform experience anywhere you go in the United States. Wednesday at 9 a.m., if there's one of the almost 200 chapters of 1 Million Cups, you'll have a similar experience. You'd walk into a room full of strangers, but you'll immediately recognize the format, and the questions are the questions that you would have heard here. So we are alone in New Mexico, but there's plenty of other chapters elsewhere. Our regional rep tells us we're kicking butt. So there's, we always aspire to get a little bit better, but apparently there's not a lot we can learn from the other chapters, but it's fun to visit them. And I have done so both physically and virtually. I've been to 6 different Million Cups around the country over the course of the past several years. And if you really can't get enough of Million Cups, you could go at 7 in the morning in New York, have some coffee, and then come in here and have another one. So your Wednesday can be full. All right, so what are the key pillars? Why do people come to Million Cups? What's different about Million Cups? These are presentations, not pitches. In pitches, as you know, Jeff, like you got 60 seconds to get it out there, and they got to line up with the satchels of money. So your company has the perfect team, has the perfect business model, and just needs an injection of cash to knock Google off the NASDAQ. But that's not really the truth most of the time. And when you present at Million Cups, it's best to talk about your vulnerabilities and challenges, the things that you don't know, the stuff that you don't have on your team, the problems that are ahead of you that you don't know how to solve. Those are the things that we can share here. So you're not trying to get people to invest in your company. You're trying to get them to invest their time, energy, and talent into your company, right? By giving you advice or connecting you to people that you need. And I see a lot of veteran Million Cups people here, and I think we can all say we've gotten a lot out of interacting with this community. So there's a longer mission statement, and what we really mean to say is that everybody who's an entrepreneur is welcome here. You can be a mom and pop brick and mortar shop like Color Wheel Toys was last week. You can be a whiteboard company with some good ideas that got some funding from the outside. You can be a mature company that's selling, that has product in market and has some challenges, or you can be one of those tentpole companies that comes in here every once in a while, shows us what to aspire to, but doesn't need all that much help from us. Hey, Adam, welcome.
Thanks.
Hey, are you ready to present at Million Cups pretty soon? Okay, see, that's what I like to see, fired up and ready to go. All right, so apply to present. See, he just did, and we accepted him, right? So it's easy. If you have a for-profit business, and that is defined as a business that sells goods or services for more than it costs to produce them to people who are not their family members, right? So if you have a business like that, you're welcome to present at Million Cups. We prefer companies that are less than 5 years old, so they're still struggling and trying to figure out what's going on. But if your company's older than that, you've made a major pivot, we're interested in hearing your story as well. So talk to any of the organizers. We'll assign you a coach and buff you to the point where you can match the awesome skill of our past run of presenters. Okay, so it's time to thank our team. I'm Paul Sauter. Lisa Atkins has been our host here at Fat Pipe for 8 years, right? 8 years of no rent for us. Eric Renz Whitmore is out and about doing things, but might be here virtually. Our newest member, at least in terms of attendance in the room, is going to be our presenter today, Adam. Sonia Dewing is checking in virtually, and Kikoa and Oscar, our newest members to the team, are attending virtually, as far as I can tell today. So there's plenty of people to talk to on this slide. Talk to any of us, and we'll get you on the path to presenting. All right, we'd also like to thank our sponsors again, Fat Pipe. Big round of applause for Fat Pipe. Jason Collin Photography, always making us look good, more than organized. Organizing your stuff, your thoughts, and providing creamer. And Foundation for Sustainable Living, providing coffee. Noventum Custom Software with the carbs, right? Yeah. And Invive Solutions, if they're here with something more helpful. But I think we're just gonna, be in the carb bin today. All right. Thank you for joining us. And since you're here, we could do the regular thing. We were going to kill time and tell jokes and all that kind of stuff. But your arrival has saved this crowd from my terrible jokes. Did you coach yourself? Did you coach yourself? Who coached?
Eric did.
Eric. Well,
Eric's not here.
If I were Eric, I would introduce Adam by saying Adam is going to tell us about his biz today, and he is also an organizer. So thank you.
Ask the audience if they can see your slides, just to make sure.
Can the audience see my?
Yes, we can.
All right, or whoever. Yeah, it was Sonia. Okay. Good morning. I don't know if I got these cool things up here. So for those that aren't there, there's little props coming up. Anyway, when I was 5, I tried to die. I thought this world is not exactly exciting, and there's nothing I could really see that I really enjoyed in particular. And I thought maybe if I just died, that would be the best way to do things. And so I tried with my brain to just let go of life. And while I was actually considering doing that, I thought, well, actually, maybe there was something to be living for. And what it could be is I could find out what that was, and I could make my life an experiment. So in that time, I have been found that to be an amazing thing to really get myself excited about doing things and actually moving forward in my life instead of not. And that it's just been really great for me. And I've never found anyone that really talked about that. So what I did is I became a teacher, and then I became a construction worker, and then I became an organizer, which is what I've been doing now. Now, the reason I did teaching was because I thought I could change how teaching was done to make it more of an experiment, where the children are actually involved in creating the classroom and what it could be and all those cool things. The system didn't work that way. And I was taking up too much time from my own family to do it. So I decided to be with my family, and I did construction work. There, I organized my friends' 5 outbuildings that had 3 generations of people not caring about organizing, in fact, kind of arguing against it. And then when I came in, I was able to do things he couldn't get any of his employees to do. And I did it in fractions of the time. So I thought, well, maybe I could do this, because that was more exciting, and I could possibly go out there and reach people and interact with folks. I didn't feel like it was quite what I was up to, but it was better than just working in a garage somewhere for me, because that was just not what I wanted to interact with people. And that was kind of good, and I liked it, but I also didn't know why I was doing it. And there we go. And then I met this gal named Joycelyn Campbell. And she actually was someone who thought that life was also an experiment. And I hadn't met anyone that was so ferociously forward about life as an experiment than her. And it was exciting again. And I actually found someone who was willing to go down that path with me and really kind of encourage it. Not only that, but gave a structure to it by talking about research and how the brain works. And this is information that was even inspired by a study all the way back in the 70s about how the brain works in comparison to our reactions and what we're aware of. And what we're aware of, this study did, is if you picked up a pencil, they studied how long, or neurochemicals somehow, where the actual occurrence was happening of my awareness to the action. And it always happened afterward. So nothing we're doing ever is something we think about doing. It's something that we're remembering whenever we think about it. And we tell ourselves a nice story about it. So that is not something I'd heard before. Well, I mean, I heard it. People say like, oh, you're predetermined and that's what it is. But what she said is actually what's going on is your desires are leading everything. And then it's working off a thing called a mental model. All right. And so that is what's happening is everyone keeps on talking about being aware in the moment. You know, there's things like being authentic or self-control, willpower, all that stuff to try and tell you this is what's going to help you change whatever it is you're going to do. And usually they work on something called psychological tension, which is things to be afraid of and not want to do and try and protect yourself. But that doesn't actually change anything. That just sort of like messes with you for a bit. Whereas creative tension, which is what Joycelyn really pushed for, is like going after something that I really want, I really desire, and amping up that experience and that abstract idea. And that just blew my mind. And I was like, this is so great. I'm going to do this because I'm an organizer and people will really enjoy me telling them all this stuff when I'm organizing their things and transforming their world. Yeah, that didn't work very well. Okay. So also on top of that, so I realized is I was trying to put the impact I wanted to make onto people and sort of forcing it to happen. You know, they're calling me up, can you move things around for me? And I'm like, oh yeah, I could change your systems and your whole brain. It's so exciting. And that didn't work. So about 2 months ago, I finally clarified, I'm gonna have to do these differently. All right, they're gonna be separate things. And I'm okay with making income. So this one over here is just producing amazing systems in people's world that actually make stuff work for them the way they think they want it to work at the time. And that's like $75 an hour, soon to be 85. It's customized. So I work with people in their space and it's just me. It can be either me working next to someone. I've actually sat next to folks and just like as they do the work and kind of giving them pointers at times, or maybe type something up for them. That's a recent client and that they kept calling me back. So that was really helpful to them. With the other clients, they say, I'd like this space to do this. And they left. And then I did all that. I came back, I had a couple questions and they were good to go. So I do that, it's great. It brings me, they give me money. I like that. So this other one is let's transform things. And this is about people who are like ferociously dissatisfied with what's going on. They want to actually make a change in their world. And the workshop is the big focus that I've got right now that Joycelyn wrote. Joycelyn wrote this workshop because she was tired of doing the introductory stuff because she still found it interesting, but her power could be used better by doing things beyond that. And so she's asked, like she actually hired, she didn't hire, 10 of us have signed up to be certified to give this workshop that she created about how the brain works. And it's pretty darn exciting. But I just love having the discussion with folks. So it's an informative discussion that took 2 years to learn how to do. And so currently, the productive stuff, that's an income. And also, it's hard to see the helmet up there, but that's when the income stuff is like biking. In biking, we have all kinds of paths. It's clear to see where you're going. There's signals. There's all sorts of infrastructure built around this. And it's really exciting in a way, but it's not quite as exciting as caving. And when I instructed caving, we used a helmet much like my construction helmet with a lamp on the front of it, which you can't see either because this picture's in the way. But when I was instructing caving, you had to go through the cave 4 times and then 1 time backwards, leading. And the reason is because when you come into a room, quote unquote, in a cave, there are different exits, there's different entryways, and if you come in looking at it from a different angle, you don't know where you are. There's a crazy, bizarre world, okay? And so that is what that is more like an analogy of what that part of my business is about. Not only that, but I am going to be doing, when I do that, it's $125 for a 5-hour workshop, which I often break into 2 parts, which is, you can see here, I'm doing it once a month on 2nd and 3rd Saturdays, is what I'm thinking is going to work. I can tell you about all the different schedules I've tried. And the thing with that is I want people to come even if money is a problem. So I don't want money to be a problem for them to come to that. So pay me over here. If you want to do the 125, that's great over here, okay? That is that part. So I'm wondering if I'm igniting creative tension and like what kind of feedback you guys hear and what message you're hearing when I say this. That'd be great if you tell me that today. But also I'd like to know some logistics. All of the brain stuff and behavior change stuff that I'm going to be talking about in those workshops, that's going to be virtual. So it's going to be on Zoom. That's how I've shifted and how I have been doing it. And that has been great. But what's some ways that we could change that up and make it better? Some experiences you've had or you know about with Zoom. Also, what times are good? I told you I've had a problem with the scheduling. And there's lots of logistical things I have not thought of that I would like to hear about. Then why am I doing it? It's because I'm trying to disrupt the status quo. I was 5 years old and I knew life could be better if I looked at it a different way. If I looked at it as an experiment, instead of having to know the answers, having to go towards something that was already known, that was already controlled, all that nonsense, okay? And I'm a little upset about it, okay? And so I want to know what is worth exercising uncertainty about. That's what creates creative tension. Something you're excited enough about to be unsure how to get there. And then how might we exercise uncertainty in business? What false beliefs about behavior hold us back from that you can think about that I could share with other people? And who ferociously wants to be transformed, like in themselves, right? Not me doing it to them. That's another thing about this business model. I am just providing information and possibly some feedback about stuff, okay? It's not a one-way street in these conversations, like a coaching is or counseling or therapy and that stuff, okay? That's not what I'm up to. I don't want to be up to that, and I don't know how to make that work. I'm working on it. Who has questions about the brain? Is someone else? I'd like to know if you know anyone that has that kind of stuff going on. And then how might I encourage interdependence?
All right, we're going to take questions in person. Form a line over here. Please introduce yourself before you ask your question. You'll be speaking to the Zoom audience. We want you to face the camera. We'll also take questions online. Adam, I'm going to pull down your slides, but I'll copy your contact info.
Thank you.
On your slide. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Miriam.
So don't get mad at me.
I'm not guaranteeing anything.
I'm Miriam Pino. I'm a professional organizer and simplicity expert and
Yes.
money breakthrough business coach. I've also studied with Joycelyn Campbell and I teach one of her other programs. So I understand the language.
Yeah.
But I want to know how many of you in the audience actually understand what he said.
I don't.
So it's
Yeah.
a problem, and I have it too. So I wanted to point out that it's really a problem of
Yeah.
messaging. And so you're missing the creative tension because you lost people early on.
Yeah.
So I just
How
wanted
did
to do
I
that.
lose people early on?
Because it's so full of jargon, people don't actually know what you're talking about. So you have to start with, are you interested in fixing yourself? That's really transformative change. Like you have to bring them you have to use their words of what they're looking to change and then transfer it to the actual thing you're going to be doing.
How would that be different than what I tried to do when people heard me and I came into their space to organize things? And that didn't work.
Right, because I'm not sure where it fell apart. I don't know
Yeah.
how you started, but
It's a good question. Like
it
this is
actually-
something I'm working on.
It actually is coaching. So thinking it's not coaching, it's just a certain style of coaching.
Yeah. I get that.
Anytime you're trying to it's that marketing thing about talk to what they want, give them what they need. You're starting with what they need.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out what problem you're solving for them. It's an experiment, so it seems more open-ended, but you still have to connect with people by what they're trying to solve.
Yeah.
Does that make more sense?
No, it's great.
Does that help?
So yeah.
It's really brain training, you guys. It's the steps you need to train your brain to get what you want. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can talk more. I'm happy to help with all that stuff. But also the list of questions is so wide that If you could pick one or two of your biggest challenges that you want us to help with.
You mean right now?
Yes.
You mean after I've already done all this?
Yes.
Let me go get back and look at the
Yes,
questions.
trying to solve.
I figured that
What can we solve for you?
well, that the big thing I'd like to know is what is worth being uncertain about?
What is worth being uncertain about?
And who wants to answer that question?
Paul understands
one
uncertainty.
person. Okay. That's why I created all those other questions, because I was pretty sure people wouldn't want to actually answer that question.
What if the question was, how do you navigate uncertainty?
I don't know.
Does that help?
Yes.
You gotta experiment with how you're asking.
I am.
Okay. Let's see what else.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
that's exactly-
Hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eleni with Hope Transitions, registered nurse. And I would say Adam has it in him to create that spark, flow, and creative tension. Because I remember the first day I stepped into this room, I was very uncertain of what was going to happen after the meeting, and I was kind of lost. He approached me and he started asking me questions, introduced himself, asked me about my business, and asked me, would you like to present? And I'm like, yeah, I would. And then he guided me to the process on how to apply and how to do it. He even coached me to do the presentation. Like, he sparked that interest in me to be able to standing here. That was my first presentation like this, my last presentation I did was in school when we had to do a presentation in nursing school. But he created so much interest in, like the name of his company says, spark flow. So he made the spark flow by reaching, asking questions, and meeting me where I was. And then that made me be interested in his workshop. So I signed in for his workshop last Sunday. He even make it possible because I was not able to do that on Saturdays, even though Saturdays is the day that works better for him in regards of people attending. So I see his willingness to help people with this company. And I see he can reach even farther away with the area where he helps you figure out in your brain. Like, don't see life as like black and white. See it in a more deep and wide perspective. Like, be open to whatever happens today. If that puts somebody in your path that you're able to help, like, don't be close. Oh, I have to do this, and that, and be close to that. No, be open. And like I like his way of seeing it. Treat your life as it was an experiment. And then I was presenting him things that I was struggling with. And he will use this word, well, let's make an experiment. Try this and that. And then let's see how it comes out. And I'm like, oh yeah, let me try that. And it was so inspiring. So I know it's hard for a lot of people to understand where he's coming from, but his business model is great because he's tapping into our brains, and our brains is something so wide and deep. It's amazing how, people don't use all the percentage of what your brain is capable of. And by him doing what he's doing, he's helping you open up, break that gap, and open up and see that you're able to reach even farther away. So don't set yourself limits. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Yes.
So you've opened up a lot of interesting things here on Paul Sauter with Equity. One of the things that you've asked is, what are you willing to be uncertain about? And this gets me into interesting terrain because I'm interacting with people all day who are not scientists, and I'm a scientist. And as the other recovering academics in the room will testify, we deal with uncertainty all the time. We say, okay, this is like the consensus, could be wrong, but I'm not going to fight it. This is complete unknown. And in the middle, there are some things that we're kind of evaluating, right? and we go like, this might be right, that might be right, we don't know. And if someone from the outside who's not an academic says, what do you know, you have all this education, what do you mean you don't know? Like, you don't have an answer. It's like, no, you have a probabilistic answer. And in medicine, most people don't want that. They want yes or no. Is this going to happen to me or not? You know, if you have the BRCA mutation, am I going to get breast cancer? Yes or no? We don't know, right? They hate that. So you should read The Fixation of Belief. I'll give you the citation.
Oh, that's great.
Fantastic book. But the other thing I want to say is when you start an accelerator, you know, sometimes you have a good coach and they tell you, if you want to do something you've never done, you can't keep doing what you're doing, right? So if that was possible for the old you to have done that, you would have done it.
Right.
But you're gonna, if you like yourself the way you are, you're not gonna be able to do new things,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll talk more about the deep stuff, but I agree, you need a message that's easier for civilians to apprehend.
In fact, even on that, like I was kind of freaked out when I was talking to Joycelyn, and it was just like holding in there that really kind of like continued. I was like, really? No, really? No, really? And it was just amazing, but it wasn't easy for me either. And it still isn't. I'm continuing to learn.
I am.
Hey.
So I'm Dr. Jessica Troy. As Paul so kindly said, I'm a recovering academic, still trying to
It's a
fall off the wagon again, I suppose. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you know what an aglaka is?
Thank you. No, I don't.
Can you name an Anglo-Saxon epic?
Oh, there we go. The Beowulf,
Yes, very good. How did you know that?
because I knew the words.
Can you name the first line of the poem? Can you state it in Old English?
No, I might recognize it.
Okay.
I don't
I'm not
think I
up
know.
here. I'm not up here to make you feel silly about this,
Right.
but that's my specialty.
Yeah.
I can answer those questions. I can give you the first line of Beowulf
Yeah.
because that's what I do. And that's what I've studied for so long. That's what I try to impart on my students when I teach them literature.
Yeah.
When I have them read Beowulf in modern English translation, of course.
Yeah.
My first question when I first started teaching it was, what do you think? Do you know what I got? This. I got this
Right.
because they don't know how to answer the question. Or they're like, that's not helpful. I can't go anywhere from there.
And we're taught that through all of school to
Right.
behave that way.
Because I didn't ask them a yes or no question. I didn't ask them, okay, here is the main character Beowulf.
Yeah.
Can you describe him?
Yeah.
Can you give me his best attribute? All of that stuff. Those are very leading questions. They can answer those questions. When I said, what did you think? It doesn't work because they don't know how to answer it. They don't understand what's behind the poem. They don't understand what the characters are doing. They don't understand why genealogy is important. They skip that whole section. It's like 100 lines.
I would have skipped it too.
Yeah, I do too.
I didn't know everything was in there.
Right, because it's super boring. Really hard to translate. But they want the monster fights because
Yeah.
that's what's cool about it,
Yeah.
right? But when I asked you what's an aglaka, you didn't know, right? And nobody,
that-
probably nobody in this room
Is
does.
that the monster?
You know what an aglaka is?
Aglaga?
Aglaka.
Aglaga.
Okay, well, it's an Anglo-Saxon word. It's an Old English word. And basically it means monster, sort of.
Oh,
It's got about
Cool.
a dozen translations.
yeah.
But I asked you that because it is a crux in the understanding of that poem for me and for my fellow medievalists who
Yeah.
focus on Beowulf and the monster fights. If you don't know what that means,
Yeah.
you can't be in the conversation.
Yeah.
If your customers don't know what you mean, they can't be part of the conversation.
And this
So
is
you've got to start more basic.
this
If
is
I tell you Aglaka means monster, Aglaka means demon, Aglaka means person who fights, an adversary. And then I tell you, is Beowulf an Aglaka or is the monster an Aglaka?
Yeah.
You would say both.
well, this is great. Have you heard of troublesome knowledge? So that is a big part of the first workshop. And it's saying that this is going to be about troublesome knowledge, which is that kind of concept. The aglaka it's not just
I feel like I should write it on the board.
right. I love it,
My first intention is like, go right.
but it's not about a monster, right? There's all kinds of stuff, including this lineage thing that like is really boring, right? Involved in it, right? And the level that you kind of put into this complex network of ideas, it means that you're in a place that it's hard for you to relate to someone on the other side.
But here's the question, right? If I were to put on a promo, a flyer for a class that I was teaching and said, come learn about Oglaka,
Right.
nobody's gonna care because
Yeah.
they don't know what it means. So you saying troublesome knowledge, that
Right.
just makes me think like, no, I don't want that, go away.
Exactly.
So what I'm saying, I guess, is you need to find a way for your students to see the concept that you're trying to get across to them and actually find interest in it. These, like Miriam was saying, these lingo words, the jargon words, for me, Old English words, that's over there.
Yeah.
Once you're in the class, now my students can tell you what an Oglaka is because I force it down their throats every day. But when they first started with me, if I would have said that, they tuned out immediately. They probably wouldn't have even signed up for class.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm saying is you've got to find a way to connect with people who want the information, maybe not even knowing that they want the information, but you've got to give them a way to slide into it without jargon. So rethinking maybe the titles of your workshops or the way that you promote them, things like that to just get somebody in the door. Then you can hit them with all that other crap like I do with my students.
Well, and that's where
Not that literature is crap, not that what you're doing is crap. But when you first hear it, you're like, I don't know what that crap is.
so what if I bounce this off?
Confusing me.
What I often do is I interact with folks on a personal level, right? And I start talking to them about this jargon, right? Because it is. I mean, there's a lot of confusing things in there, and I tried to keep most of it out, you know. And when I've talked to people, it was in those conversations that like sort of they started getting excited. Like Eleni would probably tell you about this. She started getting curious, and when they start getting curious, that's the time for the workshop.
Yes.
It's hard for me to really get them to the workshop unless they're already curious. So if it was an Oglaka, you know, they'd already, I found they either need to be curious about it already or have the conversation with them. And to me, it's exciting to have these conversations with folks.
So here's a way to connect, at least how I found a good way to connect.
Yeah.
Is that when I was teaching Beowulf, I feel like I'm taking up a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
When I was teaching Beowulf or any medieval story that nobody has read and nobody can connect to.
Yeah.
I don't go straight into all the hardcore poetic stuff that I can tell you about, all the language stuff I can tell you about. One of my first questions for my students, once I got past the what did you think thing, was who was your favorite character?
Yeah.
Or what was your favorite part? Because then you can say, oh, well, I really liked when Grendel came into one of the monsters, came into the story. I said, okay, let's talk about Grendel. He's an Oglaka. Here's a new word for you, Oglaka, right? Or I walked into the class the first day and my first word to the class, once the class started, was the first word of the poem, which is what? Okay, it would translate to what generally, but it's a way of getting people's attention.
Yeah.
It means so or lo or behold or what or hey kids, listen to me, right? That kind of stuff. It was a way for a poet to get attention.
Yeah.
So once I got their attention, then I could hit them with the other stuff, right? So to get your people interested, there's got to be your wet moment.
Yeah.
There's got to be something that makes them say, huh? Wait, say that again? I need to know more, right? Not this, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, bye.
Right. And for different people, it's going to be a different whack,
Sure, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because
But you need to get-
there's at
find one
least
that appeals to
3
them
different
most.
types. And it's not a need, but it's something I'd like to do.
Right.
So I would like to communicate with people. And it's like there's 3 different like major personality types. The second workshop.
Different
is
workshops.
about. It is a different workshop.
For different people, like you said, you had a 2-parter, right? 2-parter for one group, 2-parter for another group, 2-parter for this group. That way you always have their need. Yeah, and I'm gonna stop talking because there's other people and I want you
Yeah,
to
this is great.
talk to other
Thank
people.
you. Thank you.
So we can talk later.
Sonia, you can ask your question next. and then we'll go to-
Okay, not really a question, but I would suggest, well, first of all, a lot of us have about 5th grade level knowledge of the language, right? So Jessica, myself, when we write blog posts, when we write content, when we present, right, we're talking at a 5th grade level. I think you need to take all of your content, whatever you have, put it into a Word document and check the reading level of comprehension. And if it's not 5th grade level, you need to change those words. You need to dumb it down so that we understand what the heck you're talking about. That's my suggestion.
Thank you.
Well, ask someone else what it means.
Yeah.
Who isn't part of your group.
If that, yeah, and that's also something I'm learning from BNI is, that, folks want to hear the organizing stuff. They don't want to hear this other stuff unless they've been invested.
They don't want to admit they don't understand.
See, hello, thanks for coming today.
Absolutely.
You said you were gonna make it and then here you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna come check you out.
Thank you.
I'm glad I did also because we actually had this conversation. Terrell King, Shockwave Defense. We've had this conversation intellectually, and I want you to dive deeper into the differences between the psychological tension and the creative tension, but explaining it to a 5-year-old.
That's great. And this is the question that my wife has asked me too. Like, and I have a hard time doing it.
Because it's such
So it's a good feedback for me as far as like, because what I did is I tried to talk about it for like 12 times a day for a couple days to really kind of figure it out. And it's about so psychological tension is what most people say when they say stress. And there's a book called The Upside of Stress by Jennifer McGonigal. And it basically says how we confuse stress as only one thing. And so if you want to read that book, it kind of gives you insight of what psychological tension is compared to creative tension. Because and so that's just something to say it's not just
What
in
do
me.
you say?
So what I think is exciting is that creative tension is figuring out what am I willing to be uncertain about. So much, something I'm so excited about, I can be uncertain about it. Something I'm so like that if I wanted to make life what I really wanted it to be, how much am I willing to be uncertain to get there? And that's the psychological tension, because getting from where I am to that place of uncertainty is there's all this creativity that happens, and you start using all 3 of those personality types I was mentioning in your brain, different parts of your brain.
You did it again. I'm just trying to.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah.
But it's such an
Appreciate it.
intellectual topic. How would you tap into the emotional side?
Okay, so back to the fire. So, what do you want? And how hard are you willing? How hard can you? Like, do you want it easy? Is it something that's going to be easy for you to get to?
Okay.
And if it's easy for you to get to, then maybe you want something a lot more.
Because what I've also understood is when we're teaching, we help X get Y. That's it. Just simple. And the reason why I like the simplistic approach is because there's less to forget. You don't have all these steps and all these other things that you need to remember. So if there's a way to condense that message, like, hey, this is what I'm here to do for you. This is the emotional impact that this product is going to have on you in your circumstances. It's going to make a big difference because it is kind of hard to understand. And that's why I actually had a good time intellectualizing this with you and invited you over for dinner and everything. And I still thought about that, and it still takes me some time to process it. So I think simplifying the message and keeping it as complex as it needs to be and as simple as it has to be. Good approach.
Yeah, and Joycelyn did a really good job of that first workshop, but it's in the workshop itself. Okay, so
What's the name of that workshop?
Wired That Way.
Yeah.
So this is a huge thing, right? This is trying to get to the point where there's enough interest in the idea, and then struggling with the hard stuff, because it's not about making it easy. Like I want to make it accessible, and I want to talk to people about it. And so you're saying that when I talk to people, the first point that I could sell them when I first talked.
You can get their attention. It's like a hook. You grab them.
Yeah.
You want to create that. By asking questions, you create a hole in their mind, figuratively. And then you answer those questions later in your sessions. So it's like you ever seen a commercial, when it's like that 5 seconds just grabs your attention, and then they give you the why, give you the what, but they don't give you the how. And that's when you take the next step to get the how.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah, give them
I hope I helped, brother.
Yeah. Hey there, what's good?
Hi, I'm Oscar with Legacy Family Documentaries. I'm also the 5-year-old in the room. I'm also a teacher. So what I do is with my students, I always ask them to explain it to someone as they were a 5-year-old. So that was beautiful. And we don't know a lot of what we don't know. So that was really helpful. Still kind of lost, but I saw some money up there. And so my my question to you was, how do you acquire customers?
It's so for which business?
There, see, the organizing.
And that's a big thing for me now, is trying to make that distinction. Because I tried to make the organizing into something that would lead into the other one. And usually people are so tied up with the things they're worried about as opposed to what they really want.
Okay, so you have 2 separate businesses. Well,
Yeah,
almost,
yeah.
technically.
yeah, it's 2 separate businesses. And I figured out that's the big thing. It's like organizing is where I'm going to get paid to do things because people give me money and it's great for me. I love that part. And I can just deliver something that's a quick fix.
Gotcha.
And then the other one is if they're curious enough and want to change something and they're excited about doing something on purpose to change in their life instead of having things happen to them.
So like a booster, okay. So for the organizing one, what's your target audience for that?
Well, I haven't really well defined that because I've been all over the board. And so that's a good question. And it's something I haven't really invested much energy into figuring out because I've done okay enough with it at this point that I've gotten money back. But that's a good question. My ideal client would be someone who feels like they've got something that they really want to make happen. And they're going to try, they would like to pay somebody.
Yeah, don't we all?
Because often people want you to come in and just do things for free. And it's like, well, that's not going to help my bills. It's going to help my life. And if I'm going to come out there and do these things that I want to, that it would be really great if they want to do something, they have an idea of where they want to go. And they either don't know how to get there, or they might know how to get there and just recognize someone else might do it better than them doing it.
How do you find that person?
Right now,
That's a long list of
right.
Yeah.
So that right now I'm part of PONM, which Miriam founded with some other people. It's a professional organizer from New Mexico. And then we have a website and people will come to me through that website and say, I read your stuff and I was really interested in the way you were talking about it. And so they wanted to work with me. I think on that note, often when the people that come through that are people who've had someone in their family die, or they've lost someone somehow, and they're trying to figure out what to do with their tools. Garages are a big thing. So that's something that's pretty helpful. And then the other thing is Thumbtack, which is online business generator. And so people can contact me through that too, and then and then I also have a website. A few people have seen that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because like if you could get that target audience down and like if you're finding that a lot more people are in the organization or people that are passing away, then maybe there's a way to be able to transition, I don't know, into your other business.
That's what I thought too.
But you'd have to explain everything to them as if it was,
Yeah.
5-year-old status.
Yeah. So far, I tried that for like a year.
Yeah.
And I had that just wasn't happening, that transition.
Yeah,
In fact,
I don't know how much overlap.
I made a lot of people upset because they thought I was talking down to them. And I was like,
we'll workshop this.
yeah. And I don't, it's important to me. And I've thought about, as far as simplifying it, one of the things I'm planning to do, is doing a workshop with kids, because the basic thing is figure out what you want and then try to come up with a bunch of ideas of how to do it, and then pick one of them, try it out, and see if you got the feelings that you want. And that's the basics. That's pretty much all of it. And then everything else is like to really think about it, to create structure instead of just saying that's too childish. Because that's something that I'm also afraid of. People can't think it's too childish.
That was so much better. That was like 90% better than
Are Trish has a comment. Trish, go ahead and unmute. You can give Adam your comment. We'll have, we'll have one more question because it's getting low on time. And because I know we have newbies in the room, we have to introduce themselves. So, Trish, go ahead.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm calling in from the road to Grant, so I'm in the car right now. Adam, I just wanted to say you are handling this pile-on of criticism beautifully. I actually, seriously, this is actually.
Think you hit a dead spot, Trish. We can't hear you.
I mean, I have to say, with all due respect to everyone in the room, to me, it started to feel like a pile-on. You also get what they are saying about you clarify your message, because I get what you're talking about, and I think your client spoke beautifully about what she had experienced working with you. So keep going, Adam. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Watch
Trish.
out. Yeah.
All right.
I'm Eric Renz Whitmore with More Than Organized. We develop Kidding. David Murphy with Core Visual. You're such a good dude, Adam. You really do know how to take the critique well. Thank you. So I'm going to add to that. Thank you. I would say starting off when you're 5, you want to die was a little bit of a curveball. Like I didn't quite figure out where that tied in with where you were going. So maybe figure out. I'm desperate for the message I'm trying to give. Yeah. I was going to say, my suggestion is like, I'm the kind of person who if someone like Jessica would have driven me crazy, because if I get asked a question I don't know the answer to, I kind of freak out. Like that's what we're taught. So I would say offer a anecdote right off the bat. Like for example, you asked the question, correct me if I'm wrong, what do you want so bad that you're willing to be uncertain about? For example, I would say a good marriage, right? Yeah. I want that, and I'm willing to be uncertain about how to get there. So like, just give them some kind of nugget to springboard from, and that way they're not just caught off guard with like, or what's an Glocka? You know, I think it's like a 9mm. That's a monster. So, yeah, so certainly like just give them something. That's good. Yeah, and I really appreciate that. This is a message that I don't usually give. This is a message I gave to you because I thought it was something new to bring. It's a message that I have been running in the back of my head, but I usually introduce this kind of concept, asking people, you know, what are you excited about doing? That's how I usually start the conversation. And then they often go into how they're struggling with doing that thing they're excited about doing. And that's kind of usually my in.
That is creativity.
Yeah. And so that's a different approach here. And I really appreciate that feedback because it does get to the point where people start thinking I'm trying to talk down to them. And that's something I'd like to work on, but I don't know. We love you.
Yeah. Red or green?
So yeah, it depends. I want to have the perfect burrito. I usually green. If it's a season where it's really hot, I want to tame that down a bit. And I'm trying to figure out what to use red on.
Okay. Everything. All right. You know our standard question. Your list of things you need help with was long, and so give us one thing that we can walk away with today that's going to help you grow your business, Adam, or clarify your.
I would love to hear, and I'd like you to tell somebody else, at least 2 other people, what you're excited about that you're not sure how to get there.
All right, that's your task in networking. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know we have some newbies and some guests today, so if you've never been to 1 Million Cups, please form a line, or if it's been a while since you've been here, please form a line and let's get some introductions. We just need your name, maybe tell us the name of your business and how you heard about 1 Million Cups. And if you've never been here and never presented, tell us the date that you're going to apply to present. So we can get busy on coaching you. Look at this line, I love it. If there's anybody online too, just raise your hand and I'll call you. Come on up. So you want to stand about where the gold star is and talk to the audience on Zoom. Yeah, how'd you hear about it?
Or camera. Just
camera.
Perfect.
So my name is Michael Chacon. I'm a student from UNM. Barbara actually, introduced this place to us. And so we pulled up and I guess here I am giving an introduction. Before I get too carried away on myself, I just want to acknowledge great presentation. It was a pretty tough crowd. I couldn't help but observe and you handled it very well. You didn't get frustrated like I know myself, and it's very difficult. So at the very least, props for getting out here, presenting. And
Imagine how fun the workshop would be.
yeah, I'll do that. I'm all for it. I think there's a lot of skills to be learned. So that in itself, tremendous. So great job. Just want to say that. In terms of me presenting, I guess I'll have to figure that out. We'll see. No promises just yet. I'm working on it. It's processing on when I would actually maybe present an idea here. I also do own an HVAC company, so I do heating and cooling, and I do the work myself also, and I'm licensed to do that. So that's something I also do. And I guess I'll let them take it away. but
Welcome.
I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Morning, everybody. My name is Devin. I am also a student at UNM, and I was invited here by Barbara Dawson. So thank you for that. I currently work in a yearbook sales representative role. So I work with high schools all around the state and I help them publish their yearbooks. I really enjoy it, but I'm here to kind of get out of my shell and get more comfortable talking to people and meet new business owners. So thanks for having me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed Hersi. I'm a student here at UNM. I was invited by Barbara, my coach, because we were one of the 4 people selected to go to sales competition in Arizona. Yeah, I just came here with Michael and Devin as well. We came here to kind of get out of our shell, get out of our comfort zone, kind of get more comfortable talking in front of a big crowd. So yeah, thank you guys.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody. I think there's like a UNM thing going on. I'm an all UNM students. I actually am a pharmacist. I got my degree from University of New Mexico College of Pharmacy. At the same time, I got my MBA there as well. So I definitely know that the school route by all means. I work as a pharmacist. I actually just got off at UNM Hospital. So definitely tired, but I am an aspiring entrepreneur trying to, get that start. Currently right now I'm in a pre-launch business called Flowvester. It's where we teach and inspire people to kick their assets into gear, and also kind to move that into a direction of investing in alternative investments and kind of blow myself up from there. So this is like what I love to do, see amazing new faces and network, and actually see my grandpa actually on there, Vic Berniclaw. And so this is a cool environment. So I'm very excited to be here and to network with each and every one of you guys.
My name is Jerry Stahl. I'm from Canton, Texas. My company is called Grapple Pet Products. I manufacture pet shampoos. I'm in the process of transitioning into making human facial products. I've been here. My first time to Million Cups was about 5 years ago. I've been following this for years. I'm planning on relocating to Albuquerque, and I want to be around a group of open-minded people, and this is ideal. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roberta Eastern. This is my daughter, Crystal. We're the proud owners of Enchanting Soap Collections by Roberta. And this is our first time here. We were invited by Carissa, who works for the city. She's a liaison for the city. And I'm here because I don't do well in front of folks. So I need to learn how to get out of my very tiny shell and be able to talk to people about getting resources to grow our business. We actually want to employ women that have been marginalized and are coming out of prison. And so we don't know which direction we need to be going in.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
Crystal, and I'm not afraid to talk in public.
Hello, my name is John Owen. I'm a
local glass blower at Aurora Borealis Glassworks, and I am currently working on how to form a nonprofit and bring us out of our backyard and into a public space, making glass affordable, accessible, and available for people that otherwise don't get to see it. We're the only in Albuquerque, and so I'm currently working on the path there. I was invited by my dad, who we are in kind of a manufacturing phase. So lots of questions, a very cool group, first time here, and I will be back.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Laura Long. Not quite sure what I'm getting myself into here. I was invited by Carrie to come and see what this is about. I am a small business entrepreneur. I am currently working on opening a retail brick and mortar yarn shop in the city, because I feel like there's a huge fiber community here, and we have one, now two, that just opened, 2 stores in the city, but we need more. So that's what I'm doing, and I have a lot of history in that. So thank you.
All right, gonna take us out. We have the last few minutes. It is hard to think of anything but how cool the startup fiesta was. So thank you very much, Jeff, for organizing extraordinary. And you don't have to rely on my description, because we had a great turnout from Million Cups folks here. Everybody who went, raise your hand. See what I'm talking about, right? You build a community and it just moves like a flock of starlings into an event like that. And a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time, a lot of people it's good to know, plenty of interest and plenty of good company. So again, let's have a big hand for Startup Fiesta. So that's the kind of thing you should be thinking about all week. What are you going to do between now and next Wednesday to help people out to lift up entrepreneurship in New Mexico? See you next week.
Everybody.